Hey everybody, it is March 29th, 2013. It's weekly wrap-up. And yep, still working on the advanced voice course, but you know, pretty soon you're going to be seeing some vibrato clips again too. I'm getting ready to do that. I kind of wanted, like I said, to sort of get through all the male mix exercises and all the female mix exercises, so then we can get back on track with exercises that are both for male and female voices, and I'll do like I usually do and have audio downloads for the appropriate voice. But like I explained, there is differences between how the female mix needs to be handled and how the male mix needs to be handled, and I thought this was the most intelligent way to do it, and that was to concentrate on one and then the other. So guys, you're back in the mix again now, pun intended, and ladies, you as well. We'll move on, and there will be some more mix exercises. We'll be talking about the mix in a kind of different way up the road a little bit, but again, that's something that I can do with both voices, and that'll happen when it happens. So what did we do this week? Well, we did, what did we do? We did clip 27 and 28. Those both were, no, 27 was female mix, and 28 was mix for both male and female voices to show you how to sort of shave off the air pressure, and I could do that one. So like I said, we're back to everybody being involved again now. Alright, and now we'll talk a little bit about the musical tip of the week. Well, what I thought I might do this time is sort of talk about questions that I'm asked quite often and respond to those questions like so. For question number one. How do I classify voices? Meaning, how do I decide who's a baritone and who's an alto and who's a soprano, who's a tenor, who's a bass? How do I decide that? And you know, the real answer, as far as I'm concerned on how you do that, is that you don't. In the beginning, actually, it's kind of premature to qualify the person's voice. So when I say that I don't, I mean I don't in the beginning. What I'd rather do is let the voice decide itself after I work with my students with exercises for a while. And the reason why is because in the beginning, the biggest part of determining what's going on is kind of about the existing range. And once you get into these exercises, your range expands immensely. So if you're just going by that, that's probably not a very good thing to do. Now, of course, the quality itself, you can sort of hear that a person's voice is kind of in the position of a tenor or kind of in the position of an alto. But again, it's a little bit premature to kind of do that in the beginning. So I like to just work with the students, work with them, develop their voice with the exercises, and as their exercises start to really develop their voice, then start to let the voice decide where it belongs in the voice classifications. And it gets pretty easy because as you start vocalizing to the various classifications, meaning if you're a soprano and you can never get up to the highest soprano notes, then maybe you're not really a soprano, right? Maybe you're an alto. Try vocalizing to the alto exercises. Let your voice decide in the beginning. A similar question, yet actually not, is how do you determine the quality of a singer's voice? And again, I don't really determine the quality of a singer's voice. That should be determined by their anatomy, by their own individual vocal anatomy. And it shouldn't be predetermined by a teacher or even the student himself. Let the anatomy determine what your voice will sound like by simply getting rid of the bullies, like I like to talk about, meaning any of the muscles that get in the way, the strap muscles, the digastric muscles, tight hinge of the jaw, any of those things. And also, as always, a good, stabilized, balanced larynx in the middle of the neck that isn't jetting up high or pushing down low. When all of those factors come together, and then the sound comes through the natural instrument, meaning predetermined by the actual anatomy of the person, everything is going to sound very unique and be the quality of what it's really supposed to be through that person's instrument based upon the shapes of the insides of all the nooks and crannies from the voice box up through here, even some of the indentions and shapes of the back of your face. All of this has to do with how you would really sound naturally. And you've got to let that happen by not stressing or straining or pushing hard through your vocal cords, but balancing, getting the larynx to be completely balanced in the middle of the neck and get all of the outside muscles that might get involved to tense things up in the wrong way out of the way. When that happens, you start to hear the natural sound. That's how I decide what the voice quality is in a singer. I let their body and the naturalness and holistic concepts of getting the voice in the right position, and then everything takes care of itself. One more question before we go here. What about breathing? Isn't breathing important in singing? And yes, of course breathing is important in singing. But again, I think for a long time it's been overemphasized by too many teachers for so long. And what I mean by that is, again, breathing should be a correct byproduct of balancing your larynx and having the air come through. When you start to do that and the air comes through, you don't run out of air. You're not running out of air at the ends of phrases. You usually run out of air at the ends of phrases, even if you take a big breath and sing from the diaphragm and push everything down like everybody tells you to do, or many, not everybody, but many tell you to do. And then you sing the phrase and what happens? You still run out of air. What's wrong with that? Why is that happening? I'll tell you. You're pushing too much air through your vocal cords. It doesn't matter if you took that breath or not. And usually what happens, and the reason why I don't push a big deal about breathing in the beginning, except for good body alignment, is that if you push too much for the breathing, usually what happens is the student puts too much power to the chords at first, and they jam up as they're trying to sing up through their registers. So I take the backward approach of getting the body nice in alignment, getting all of these muscles, again, not to be too redundant here, but to get the larynx balanced and get all of these muscles, the strap muscles and all of the muscles again out of the way, and the person starts singing. Immediately the student starts singing better. Immediately they start singing better, and they start feeling things that become obvious to them. Okay, there does come a moment when, if you're Elphaba in Wicked, that you need some power and energy in a certain way, or if you're singing a hard, heavy-duty rock tune, or you're singing some R&B thing with all kinds of power going up into the notes, then maybe at that point in time, that's when we should need to talk about breathing. Not maybe, that's when I talk about breathing. So I kind of bring the big breath support concepts that you hear from so many teachers, I bring them in a little bit farther down the road, because I feel that what happens if you do it too soon, the student misconceives what's going on and they jam up too hard in their throat and they create too much pressure. And even if they're sounding good with that concept, they're not making their full range potential, and maybe will even hurt their vocal cords by putting too much pressure to it because they don't understand the concept of the right pressure yet. All right, do I sound like and look like I'm on a soapbox today about that? Those are some of the questions that I get asked all the time. I just wanted to sort of respond to that in relationship to my philosophy about it. So with that said, I guess it is a wrap again, and I will see everybody next week with more content to the site. And as always, if you're just seeing this on YouTube and you like what you hear, please like us. It helps us. Make a comment, see what you think. Maybe this is controversial to somebody from what I said today. So what's your opinion? You want to make a comment about it on YouTube? I'd really love to hear it and see what you think and what your concepts are in relationship to what I said today. Any of the above? And now, with that said, come on over to totallyvocals.com if you're on the YouTube channel. Check out all of our content. It grows constantly, week after week. And we have beginning courses, intermediate courses, advanced courses, courses about vibrato, jazz scat singing courses, tons of songs that teach you how to sing the exact song with breakdowns, all of that, and it is growing constantly. So come on over, and if you're one of our people that are already here, thank you for being here, and keep practicing. We will keep on growing and become great singers right here on the internet.